Episode 22, The Mysterious Girl. Jessa covered her face and looked at Diane in disbelief.
I can't believe you hit me because of that loser. It was obvious that I was sticking up for you.
Jessa's words just now could have easily caused her to miss out on Jeff's fortune. If only she could get Jeff, her life would change. Mad of the better for Diane, who was obsessed with marrying into a rich family. Losing this opportunity just wasn't acceptable. Jessa continued.
I'm doing you a favor right now, you know.
What are you talking about? Jeff is my boyfriend now. Jessa, please treat him with respect.
Diane said as she walked toward Jeff. She snuggled up against Jeff's chest and glared at Jessa. Jeff also hadn't expected Diane to stand up for him against Jessa if he stayed here. He knew the situation would get worse. So he persuaded the two of them to make their peace with each other. And then he left. With Jeff gone, Diane gradually calmed down and started to feel a little guilty about hitting Jessa. Jessa giggled when she saw that Diane didn't know how to apologize to her. Diane saw Jessa laughing and asked,
Jessa, are you alright? I just hit Jessa.
She thought.
Why is she laughing? Has the heavy blow to her head caused some brain damage?
Diane, I know what you're planning. You hit me now just because you wanted Jeff to listen to you, right?
Jessa thought that this was Diane's plan. She rubbed her face, which was red and sore, and complained.
Look, Diane, even if you wanted to get his attention, you hit me much too hard. My face is burning and numb.
Only then did Diane heave a sigh of relief.
Luckily, Jessa didn't seem to have any brain damage. Alright, I did hit you too hard. Please don't hate me. Just wait. Once I've got him where I want him, I'll make sure that you benefit too.
Diane gently caressed Jessa's face as she spoke. Jessa replied,
Of course, I know that this guy Robert is from a rich family. When it happens, I know you'll give me thousands of dollars, won't you?
Jessa blinked at Diane. However, Jessa didn't realize that the person Diane was referring to was not Robert.
Of course.
Diane smiled.
As long as everything works out with Jeff, tens of thousands of dollars will be nothing.
She thought to herself. The two cousins quickly forgot about the previous incident. Jessa continued.
That's right. Didn't you say before that a super rich person had been to your bank? Has he been there in the last few days? Can you get his number for me?
Jessa's eyes were sparkling. Her heart was filled with anticipation.
Of course you'd chase after him. It takes luck to find such a rich man.
Diane thought.
What do you want his cell phone number for?
She asked.
It's difficult to find a rich man. Of course, I have to chase this one. I just need his contact information. Then I'll do everything I can to get a date with him.
Jessa said thoughtfully.
Oh!
Diane considered Jessa's words and became anxious.
He hasn't come in for a few days. When he does, I'll get his cell phone number for you.
Great! Thanks, Diane.
Jessa smiled sweetly and continued.
I really want to meet that eligible rich guy as soon as possible. I'm imagining him to be very handsome, but it doesn't matter if he isn't. As long as he has money, I want someone as rich as him by my side.
Diane secretly rejoiced. Luckily, Jessa knew nothing about Jeff's situation, and she found that especially funny.
Jessa, the eligible rich guy that you dream of is Jeff. You said you want to date him, and yet, you treat him as a nobody.
She thought to herself. While the two cousins were lost in their own thoughts, Jeff returned to school. By the time he arrived, it was almost 6 p.m. He felt a little hungry, so he went to the restaurant on campus. Restaurant Cuisine was a private restaurant with several times the capacity of the campus cafeteria. There were already quite a few students inside the restaurant. Jeff walked toward the front desk and joined the line. Then he heard someone behind him saying in a mocking voice,
Oh, man. You'd think people would look in the mirror before they step out of the house.
Didn't think I'd see people like that here. A meal at this restaurant is probably like this pauper's monthly living expenses. Why would a hobo like that be willing to spend so much money on one meal? Unless it's stolen money or something?
Damn.
Jeff thought to himself.
All I want is to enjoy a delicious meal. Who the hell are these people? Why are they being so mean to me?
In Jeff's heart, a ball of rage grew. He turned around and saw 3 girls heading toward him. They were all dressed in fashionable clothes similar to those he'd seen hipsters wearing in the street. However, Jeff did not know these 3 people at all.
Why are they taunting me if they don't even know me?
As Jeff was puzzling over this, the three girls walked over without looking at him.
You're not talking about me, are you?
Jeff finally understood. The three girls walked to the front of the restaurant and stood in front of a fourth girl. The three girls crossed their arms and chewed gum as they scanned the girl with disdain. Jeff looked at the fourth girl with interest. Her clothes were obviously old and cheap. She was wearing a white t-shirt, jeans that had been in style 7 or 8 years ago, and a pair of canvas shoes that had been washed until they'd faded to white.
Everyone, look at this girl. Her name is Lelaine West. And she's the poorest person in our class. Every year she gets this scholarship because she's so poor. And look at what she's spending it on eating at the most expensive restaurant on campus. She's totally shameless.
One of the girls said mockingly. Another continued.
Lelaine, don't you feel embarrassed? You're really poor, right? But now you actually came here to eat and spend the school's money.
You are shameless, aren't you? Fine. Let's see if you can take what's coming to you.
Another of the girls threatened. Then the three girls started pulling Lelaine's hair. One of them was holding her by the hand, while another grabbed Lelaine's hair and pulled her back as hard as she could. Lelaine was no match for the three of them. She struggled but could not break free. She was on the verge of falling down. Jeff could finally see Lelaine's face clearly. She was pale and was wearing no makeup, but she was very pretty. Her thin lips were tightly pursed and her eyes were closed. No matter how the three girls tortured her, she didn't make a sound. In the end, Lelaine was thrown to the ground by the three of them.
Serves you right for being scum.
The three girls smirked and looked down at Lelaine, who'd fallen to the floor. As Lelaine was lying on the floor, the waiter came to take her order. He cautiously asked her if she still wanted to order anything. Lelaine crawled up from the ground, looked at the waiter and said,
Please bring me 2 plates of seafood and 2 bottles of Evian. I'll take them with me.
The seafood risotto cost $25 per serving, and the Evian cost $20 a bottle. Even in comparison to all the other extravagant dishes on the menu, these choices were considered particularly expensive. When the others heard how expensive Lelaine's order was, they became very annoyed with her.
She deserves to be beaten up for spending so much of her grant.
One of them shouted.
I can't even afford to drink Evian. I didn't think that a poor person could drink it. I want to tell everyone at school so everyone will hate her.
She's going to eat 2 servings at once. She must be a reincarnated hungry ghost, right?
Lelaine didn't seem to care at all. When she heard the ridicule from others, her gaze was fixed on the chef who was cooking at the window. The 2 seafood risottos were soon ready. Lelaine paid and quickly walked out with the food and bottles of Evian mineral water. Watching the girl leave, Jeff sighed to himself.
That girl was really pretty.
He thought.
And she knows how to enjoy herself. Her family's living conditions must be so bad that she's prepared to use the grant money to enjoy such expensive food.
Then he heard one of the girls say,
Oh, there's another pauper here. Look, everyone. Doesn't he look like he should be with Lelaine? Look at the clothes he's wearing. He's perfect for her.
As Jeff turned around, he saw the 3 girls pointing at him. He'd already seen how cruel they were, so he didn't want to get into an argument with them. He finished eating and quickly left the restaurant. When he walked out, Jeff could see Lelaine's back.
How did this girl buy 2 servings for herself?
He wondered. Jeff was intrigued and followed behind Lelaine, keeping pace with her. He followed her all the way to the school's Ramsey Lake. At this time there was no one else near the lake. The setting sun shone on the surface of the lake, sparkling and flickering with golden threads. It was especially beautiful. Alex hid behind a tree and watched Lelaine. She placed the 2 cartons of risotto seafood and the bottles of mineral water on a rock. Then she sat on the ground beside the rock and slowly started to eat the food. As she ate, 2 streams of tears flowed from her eyes. Jeff could even hear her sniffing.
Could it be that she's never eaten such an expensive meal and was moved to tears today?
He wondered.
No one usually brings food to eat by the lake. She's definitely acting strangely.
After watching Lelaine for a while, he was ready to leave. Suddenly, he saw Lelaine put down her food and slowly stand up.
Surely you're not going to leave all your trash now you've finished eating.
Jeff said to himself.
This girl's a real punk.
However, Lelaine didn't leave. Instead, she knelt on the ground, deliberately facing the northeast, and started to pray.
What was going on? Why did she have to kneel down and pray after eating?
Jeff wondered. Then Lelaine stood up and walked quickly toward the lake.
Is she trying to kill herself?
He thought flashed through Jeff's mind. Lelaine's actions gave him an answer. He watched as she walked to the edge of the lake and jumped into the water with a plop.